156 Silence, People Watching is a brand new album I've been looking forward to, and we're finally here. Now, it's got probably one of the weirdest album arts I've seen this year. I know the 4 Year Strong weird dog thing was quite amusing, but this is more so in the creepy factor of having this random painted guy look at you. But I can say at least this one I don't think has any AI to it, unlike that. But I've been looking forward to this record, so let's dive in. I'll go by track, excluding the interludes because there is a few on this one and I don't really have much to say about them. So character development is like an instant blast into this album. You just hit with this creepy, eerie aesthetic that lingers throughout the entire record, and I think character development is a perfect way to start off with the album. It's explosive, got some great riffs, the breakdown's sick, it's an amazing track and an awesome one at that. Yeah, it's really sick. Target Acquired, one of my favourite tracks. I think this, from character development, goes straight into Target Acquired insanely well. I love the way that the instrumentals play with each other. It really feels like a Knocked Loose track, and I think you could say a lot of this kind of has Knocked Loose elements. Blending with something like Silent Planet, I get a little bit of Cane Hill as well. For inspiration, or at least kind of like a similar vibe. But Silent Planet and Knocked Loose definitely go hand in hand when it comes to the repetition, to just the spontaneousness of the instrumentals that just burst into new ideas, and the uncleans and the ambience of the track definitely give me more of a Silent Planet sort of sound, and I think it's really sick. Target Acquired is just amazing, probably one of the best songs I've heard from metalcore this year. It's incredible. And then we had Better Written Villain. This was one of the singles, one of the bigger ones, and I like this one a lot. It's really, the chorus is great, the melodies that are brought into this one is nice, but I just love how destructive this one gets as well. Probably not as good as the first two tracks, but it's still a very good one. Product Placement was my first proper listen of 156 Silence, and I really like this one. I love the whole pretty much just the whole thing, point behind the song. Product placement is cool. I just think lyrically this one has some pretty fun stuff, especially towards the end, the way it's all screamed, the way it's all structured. Product placement has some great stuff. The hook is cool as well. Great track, pretty good one, and I quite like it. Blood Loss is one that kind of gives us more of a calmer aesthetic. There's not really as much energy, but it kind of leans more into this eerie vibe that just lingers about, and I think it works really well on this track. And Carson Pace is the feature. I think it's a great feature. I think Blood Loss is a unique, pretty fun track, and is a nice addition to the record. Once I Need, another single, and also this one has the feature Craig Owens. This one's great. Don't have much to say. It's a bit it's not as strong as the others. It kind of feels like it does what it needs to do as a track for this record, but it doesn't have as many crazy ideas as the other tracks preceding it, but it's still good. I still think it's a fun track, just probably one of the weakest in my opinion. Funeral Arrangements is dark, it's gritty, and I love it, bringing back more of that creepy, eerie vibe that I love with the bands, and I think the way they incorporate heavy and just this sound is great, and it goes straight into Unreasonable Doubt, another banger that plays with these elements so well. The hauntingness of this is just otherworldly in my opinion. There's a lot of great stuff. I'm going to be saying a lot of the same stuff because frankly I do find there's a little bit of a repeated aspect when it comes to these tracks, especially towards the latter half. It does kind of feel a little samey, but it's got enough to make it each song explosive, so it's kind of in a good way, and at least in good spirits that we have that for it. Then we have the title track People Watching. This one I thought was going to be an interlude, but I love the way it just calmly goes into this eerie vibe that really makes me think of something like Korn, and then it goes into just some explosive uncleans and then just simmers back into this eerie sound that occurs throughout the track. Amazing. This one is awesome. Change Agent, the third and final track to have a feature, Trey Roberts. This one's good, probably one of my favourite features. Change Agent's a fun track, and one of the ones that definitely makes the second half have some really good bangers that pop out. But in terms and conditions, this one is cool in my opinion. I think this one's got some great elements, but I'm not as big on it. I'd probably say it's like Once I Need. It does what it needs to, but it's not one of the most impactful tracks. It just kind of is there for the sake of it. And Healing Process, Leave of Absence, is a nice track. It's got some extended moments. Obviously this one's going for something longer and bigger to kind of be the finale of this record, and it works. It's not the most powerful track, and it's definitely one of my favourites, but I think the way that they managed to make it work, it doesn't feel like a bore to go through all in 6 minutes for this final track. But despite having pretty much 12 songs and 2 interludes on this one, it's incredible. This album was not what I expected. I did not expect it to be as great as it was, but here we are. Now, the only thing I can kind of think that kind of drags it a tiny bit, not that it's repetitive, that it can be a bit of a problem, but I feel like a lot of tracks have so many cool, refreshing ideas, and then you just dumped with some weaker stuff that's just kind of standard for it. So it kind of is a little bit of a buzzkill, but like a very small nitpick, to be honest. Not one that really changes my opinion on this. And another thing I got to mention as well is I think the production, while there is some clean elements, I think the drums feel a bit off. Something about the mixing on them, they kind of have this little plastic sound to it, which it is noticeable in some tracks. I think it's something you can avoid. It just doesn't really have quite a clean structure to the drums, whereas something like Knocked Loose had a similar sound. At least the drumming was more coherent and worked well with it, but this one, the drumming can be a bit of a weird part to the track, but there's literally just these small things that don't really drag the songs down itself. The writing is top notch, the tracks just go back to back, incredible, and it's an amazing record. I can't even stretch enough that there's people watching. It was absolutely something that blew me out of the way, blew me out of the water entirely. I did not expect this one to be as incredible as it is, but it is, and I'm going to have to give this one a 4.5 out of 5 because I really enjoyed it, and I think it is definitely one of the top records I've listened to this year. So I hope you all enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next